Father, I must have spicy bread. Welcome! This week, we continue again with our tour of the world. And this time I have the ingredients for French onion chicken. This one I thought was interesting because unlike the other recipes that I was looking at, it uses balsamic vinegar along with the sweet onions. So that should give it a good flavor compared to some of the other ones that were a little more basic. So a lot of stuff here. It's fairly straightforward, aside from me changing up one thing. This one wanted Italian shredded cheese, but I went with one of the other recipes that asked for something I've never heard of before. Gruyere cheese. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, but I'm just gonna go with that. Our total for everything here, well, for the stuff that I had to buy, is $21.43. And most of that cost was in, I don't remember, probably this cheese, because this cheese was like $9 by itself. But with that being said, I will go ahead and clear all this off because we need to cut our onions first. Dun dun dun. Now these are sweet onions, so hopefully they won't make me scream like the normal ones. But we'll find out. One last thing to note, we're not actually dicing these up, we're keeping them in longer strips, I think. The instructions weren't very clear, so I'm just gonna cut them very basically and not dice them up too much. So start your morning off right with a nice glass of freshly squeezed onion juice. Well, now that these are sliced, I'm gonna go ahead and throw them into the pan. Or maybe I should put the butter in first. Guess we'll find out. Now those are going to take about 20 minutes with constant stirring. You can also add salt here if you want. I didn't just because I don't feel like it. Maybe I'll add a little in a bit, but other than that, I'm going to get the chicken ready while that's going. So let me not spill the balsamic that I have sitting there. Kind of weird what this recipe says. It wants you to like season them and then put them in. Dude, there's a lot of water, you know me? Dump that out first. Anyway, it wants you to season them and then put them in the slow cooker. I think that's kind of dumb, so I'm just gonna put them in the slow cooker and then throw the seasonings in. Because like, why give extra work when you don't need it? So let me get these extra thick, juicy slabs in there. Chunk. This is where I get my leg from, eating so many chicken breasts. Protein. Where is it? There we go. So we got our seasoning mix here. I'll just sprinkle some of this on, and then these will be ready for the onions once those are finished. You can also have the beef, the broth here, which I guess I can do that. I just haven't opened it yet. First I gotta wash my hands off because I got gross, juicy, where'd the thing go? Juicy chicken water on me. Ew. I have to say I've never used beef broth out of a can before, but it smells pretty gross. And that is it. Now we just finish up the onions. Once you get the onions to your liking, your next step is adding in your balsamic vinegar. Luckily for me, I've got my 2 tablespoons measured out already. So we will pour this in and then cook it for about 2 more minutes so that I can evenly distribute with everything. Hopefully this won't start splattering when I put that in there. Oh, getting exciting. Now that our 2 minutes are up, we just dump them in and we are ready to go. And with that, we now cook it on low for 5 to 6 hours. So, until then, I will see you later. We have returned for part 2. At this point, we want to thicken up the sauce a little bit, so I have the 2 tablespoons of flour here. And what I'm going to do is scoop out some of the beef broth, I guess, the juiciness. Looks kind of scary right now. Ugh. So I'm gonna scoop out some, put it in this bowl, and then I don't even know how I'm gonna scoop this out. But we're going to dissolve the flour and then put it back in and let it cook for a little bit longer. So let's attempt to get some of this out. Guess that's good enough. And with that, we now cook it for about 15 more minutes so that the sauce can thicken up. And while that is going on, I can go ahead and start shredding our cheese block up. That way, that is ready for topping it at the very end. And after your 15 minutes, you are ready to serve. Our last step, of course, is putting on our freshly shredded cheese. I'm skipping out on that though, because that is if you are serving this to a group of people at once. And like with my other meals, I am spreading this out throughout the week, so I don't want to throw all the cheese in there and then have it kind of get soggy with the liquid, so I'll hold off on doing that. Same with these. These are for topping, so don't throw those in if you're doing the same thing I'm doing. Otherwise, they will absorb all the they'll absorb all the liquid and they'll get really huge and turn into little bushy squares. So yeah, let me go ahead and set this up and we'll see what it looks like once it is complete. And before I forget, Here is our mystery food. Kind of steamy. Nope, there goes my camera. Smells like crispy. Well, another successful dinner. Here is our result. I think it looks pretty good. It smells really good too. What I did was, I didn't want to leave the chicken breasts whole, so I just kind of stabbed them with a spoon a few times to shred them up a little. And it seemed to work out okay, so yeah. I'm excited to try this. Thanks for watching. Well, this one turned out pretty good. Just one thing, overall, it didn't really make a lot, so maybe multiply everything by 1.5 to get a little more, or just put more chicken in. Maybe I just didn't use enough chicken, I don't know. But other than that, I think maybe a little more seasonings would be good, but that's about the same for all of them. So other than that, this one turned out pretty good. I liked it. Oh, one more thing. The Gruyere cheese was actually a really good choice, so I definitely suggest using that one.